Welcome to Feudalia, created by Fernando Abad with artwork by Checho Nieto and published by Abba Games. The game is set in a medieval land where the new feudal lords will have to rule the recently conquered lands, while helping to build the most splendorous cathedral for further glory of the king. The players will be these new feudal lords, striving to manage their lands and vassals wisely. First, choose which scenario you want to play from the rulebook. Then, set the cathedral zone by placing all cathedral cards on the table. Place over foundation as many victory points as indicated for the number of players. Form the supply on the table. To do this, first take all the vassal cards indicated in the chosen scenario and place them in the center of the table. Then, take the basic master's deck and draw 5 basic master cards face up on the table. Each player chooses a color and receives both treasury cards of that color as well as a treasury marker. Choose a player who will be the starting player, who receives the starting player card. He places the card under his treasury cards so that all players can see how many victory points are needed to end the game. Then the players will select their starting fiefs. First, each player takes one level 0 wheat fief, the yellow one. Then, the starting player draws 2 level 0 fief cards and chooses one of them. That player passes the remaining fief to the next player, who draws a second fief card and chooses one. Repeat until all players have 3 level 0 fiefs. Finally, each player receives his initial vassal deck, with the cards indicated in the scenario to be played. Place the tax collector card face up next to your deck, forming a discard pile. The players draw their starting hand of 5 cards. The game is played in rounds, where the players will take turns to play their cards and take actions. Each turn is divided in 3 phases. First, straighten up any basic masters you tapped on your last turn. If you have the tax collector in your hand, you must play it now. Every time he appears, he will take half of the resources in each of your fiefs. In this phase, the players will carry out their actions playing cards from their hand to take as many actions as they can or want to play. These are the possible actions. Hire one vassal card from the supply by paying its cost with the money from your treasury and resources from your fiefs. Place it in your discard pile. Generating income. Discard to your discard pile a vassal card from your hand to earn its income. Advance your treasury markers as many steps as necessary. Playing one field action. Some vassal cards allow you to perform field actions, as indicated by this icon. To do this, play the vassal cards in a free field of one of your fiefs. The color of the icon indicates if you need to play that vassal in a specific fief type or if you can place it anywhere. Once in a field, take the action described in the card. Playing one influence action. Other vassal cards will grant you influence actions as indicated by this icon. To play an influence action, play the card on the table and apply the effect of the card. Unless the card includes this symbol, only one influence action can be played per turn. Upgrading a fief. You can pay the cost indicated in the fief card to upgrade your fief in 1 level. Once you've upgraded a fief, make sure that your treasury card matches the current sum of the levels of your fiefs. Building the cathedral. The cathedral is built in 3 phases. First, you have to lay the foundation, then build the main nave, and finally, fill it with the silver works, the D&N cannons, and the stained glass. When performing this action, the player can pay the cost indicated to take a victory point token from the current cathedral cards. With this action, you'll earn victory points for the end of the game. Hire one master card. You may hire masters from the supply by paying their cost. The number and the color of the flag will indicate the level and the type of the fief where that master can live in. To build the last phase of the cathedral, you will need to hire the cathedral masters first. Each one will allow you to take victory points from one of the 3 cathedral cards. Playing one master action. Just like your vassals, many masters will allow you to do actions with them. Tap the master card and perform the action described. As opposed to vassals, you don't need to discard a master after performing its action. This phase has several steps that must be done in order. End of the day. Discard all played vassal cards for field or influence actions. Masters remain on their respective cities. Services to the court. Discard all the unplayed cards in your hand and earn the income for each of them. Each card will give you at least 1 coin, even if the card doesn't show any income. Saving. Maintaining your lands isn't cheap, so you will lose part of the money in your treasury at the end of every turn. Adjust your treasury marker to what is shown in your treasury card. Replenish your hand. Draw cards until you have 5 in your hand. If your deck runs out, make a new one by shuffling your discard pile. Adjusting your fiefs. Each of your fiefs can hold up to a maximum of 12 resource cubes, regardless of their type or where they are. Some masters can hold resource cubes. Discard as many resource cubes as you need to stay within this limit. When a player reaches 10 or more victory points, the other players take one last turn to complete the round. Then, check the score of each player with 10 or more points. The player with more victory points wins the game. In the case of a tie, check which player has more noble cards. Show that you can be the wisest feudal lord with this strategic deck building game. Feudalia.